I signed for them after the Euros, and after my first day's training, I was driving home. I was actually thinking, regretting it. What have I done? Like I walked into a circus.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's the last ever for now, Deal or No Deal, and I need to start with a plea. Phil Egan has admitted in the ads that he will take free tickets for Garth Brooks if they're going.
No.
Outed.
I didn't.
Come on now, Phil.
No, but the conversation went about, we were talking about how great Monaghan is, right? Because Shane had been talking about it, and then he was talking about the festival that was there.
The Blues Festival this weekend.
We were talking about the attire and would it be similar to what you'd see at a Garth Brooks concert. And then we'd obviously pinned Shane as definitely someone who would queue up for tickets for Garth Brooks.
Defamation.
And then the conversation went, would you go? I was like, if somebody gave me a couple of tickets, I would go.
We're both on the same page here, Phil. You'd take free tickets. That's what I'm saying. If anybody wants to get in touch, Phil.Egan at offtheball.com, hit him up. He's your man. When is he playing? Is it next week? When is it?
I don't even know.
Nobody knows.
He's up
Shane knows. He's got
his
diary. Right. It's Deal or No Deal. Just called Deal today because this is only stuff that's happened. It's shut, thank God. Liverpool have got their man. Snap shut.
Slam shut last night at 11 o'clock.
Liverpool have temporarily got their man to get him a bit longer term down the line.
Yeah, actually there is an option to buy, but I'd be very surprised if they do take that up because they'd have to pay nearly 40 million. But yeah, it's
Artur Melo.
Artur Melo, it kind of came out of nowhere yesterday, and this is the thing, people say, is it a good deal? But we don't know. We don't have a crystal ball. How much game time is he going to get? What we do know is that there's a very good player in there somewhere who had performed well for Barcelona at times, went to Juventus, didn't have a great time. So now you're looking at Liverpool. They are short in midfield. They've obviously they'll have a few players coming back soon enough, but I still think that they need to, that midfield needs a serious revamp. So
this is the thing though, Phil. You say they're short in midfield, and I know Klopp said that after the United game, but there seems to be rumours and talk within Liverpool that some people within the club maybe didn't feel that they needed a new signing in midfield. I know Thiago's obviously close to coming back maybe.
Yeah, but he's got an injury record where he picks up knocks. I mean, look at the Champions League final. You know, remember the rumours before the game that he wasn't going to play. He was a late withdrawal for the League Cup final. There's like two finals where one that he doesn't make, one that he just about makes, and it's very hard to build with a player like that. When he plays, I think he's sensational, but when he's not there, then there's a drop off in quality, which we've seen so far this season.
Aubameyang is back in the Premier League. He's gone to Chelsea. Thomas Tuchel is one of those managers under a little bit of heat at the minute. Is this the man to save him, Phil?
Well, he is under a lot of heat because he spent the most in the Premier League transfer window, the most in history as well, and obviously
250 million quid.
Yeah, like you know, watching Chelsea the other night against Southampton, watching them against Leeds, what had made them so good, and obviously they won the Champions League under Tuchel, was they're so hard to beat, but they don't really play with any patterns in attack where you kind of know what they're about. They just have some really good players that will score you goals because they have quality, but Aubameyang is the player that maybe can put those chances away. Sterling has obviously chipped in with a few goals, but he is not what you would call a prolific goal scorer. And I don't mean, maybe prolific's the wrong word, because he has had seasons at City where he's been prolific, such as the position he got himself into. But put it this way, if he's going through one-on-one, do you think he's going to score all the time? No. Whereas, like, when I see someone like Harry Kane going through, I'm thinking just turn away. He's pretty much nailed on to score.
Is he risky though? Is like I'm talking in terms of attitude here, yeah. Yeah,
well, Tuchel will be hoping he can tap into what worked with them at Dortmund, where he was prolific, and like they do have other options in attack, but they haven't really had what you would call a top striker.
And the lads on BT making some similar point last night about have all the signings. Do you feel Chelsea are in a better position after spending 250 million quid? And you sort of have to say,
Well, see, Rudiger was a loss. Now they've brought in Fofana, and Koulibaly is obviously there as well. Koulibaly got sent off against Leeds, has had a few rocky moments, but he's only adapting to a new system, new league. Fofana, we know how good he is. You know, his career kind of was put on hold for a bit because of that serious injury, but you would imagine that will make them better at the back. Midfield will be a worry for them though, because they just they were played through quite easy against Leeds, same with Southampton, and you just wondered did Will Tuchel's speech after the game about not being tough enough, what kind of impact will that make over the next few weeks? But yeah, certainly is pressure on them anyway.
I'm skipping Everton and I'm going straight to the main man. Are Bednarek and Dendoncker going to save Stephen Gerrard's Aston Villa bacon?
I don't think they will. I've seen Villa a few times. I watched them against Everton this season, and it was the weekend. There was a heat wave. I watched the first half and I thought, like, the sun is shining out there. I need to get out there because that first half was so dreadful. And then the other night against Arsenal, like, Arsenal are playing really well at the moment. Villa were awful. Like, it's very hard to make a case for Gerrard being the kind of manager that players have run through a wall for after watching that game. But look, we know how things can change very quickly. I mentioned Arsenal, like this time last season, everyone was thinking Arteta was gone. He turned them around, but I don't know if I have the same confidence in Gerrard being able to do that with Villa. Certainly doesn't have the same quality of players that Arteta had and has now.
And the last one we want to ask about is Billy Gilmour gone to Brighton. He hadn't been given a squad number at Chelsea, and I mean, for a player who I remember Pat Nevin all that long ago raving about him, and it looked like justifiably so from the performance he was putting in. He has totally slipped off the radar at Chelsea, and he's gone now to Brighton for 10 million quid. Why didn't it work out for him by way of will it work out for him at Brighton?
Because clubs like Chelsea, Lampard obviously gave him his run, and that was one thing Lampard did. Whether you think Lampard was good at Chelsea or not, he obviously was forced to play youngsters. Tammy Abraham was another, and Mason Mount as well, because they had the transfer ban at the time. And Gilmour was one of these players. You think back to the FA Cup tie against Liverpool, who was brilliant. Even think back to the Euros last summer for Scotland against England. He was excellent, and it's very hard to make it at a big club. I mean, because we've mentioned how much pressure Thomas Tuchel is under. He can't be waiting for Billy Gilmour to develop. He wants to finish article already. The great thing about Brighton and Graham Potter is he'll be given time, and kind of goes into the conversation about, is Graham Potter good enough to manage one of the big clubs in the Premier League? And the thing is, if he did, he wouldn't get the same time that he has at Brighton to kind of put a stamp on things, because at those top clubs they expect results instantly. Look what happened after a couple of defeats for Ten Hag. Like, there was actually people thinking it's done already. Yeah, it was. They've won their next 3 games. I'm not saying he's going to turn out to be a success, but the fine margins of the very elite level. Brighton obviously have been performing so well, but I think it is a good move for them because they do play a nice brand of football as well. It's something we talk about when we're talking about transfers. Sometimes it baffles you that players go to a club where it's not going to suit the way they play. But with Brighton, you're encouraged to get on the ball. That suits Billy Gilmour. So hopefully it does work out for him, because there is a very talented player.
There is some lovely stuff across all the back pages today, which we'll never give you a full flavour of. It's Our Dream, Irish Daily Mail, The Sun, Ireland win 1-0 on Ag. The Ag thing, I'm not really aware of. There we go. I'm not really having that something to do with aggregate. It's like you're just shoehorning that in for no reason, so that's not happening. The Irish Times, lovely photograph, Katie McCabe there, and the Irish Independent as well. Some of the red tops, not with it as their main splash, which is a bit of a question mark. But Phil Egan, you were out there last night. I mean, nervy stuff.
Yeah, as expected though, because whatever about how Ireland performed, like, Finland are a good team. I know people said they lost all their games at the Euros, but take into account that 2 of those games were against Germany and Spain. Would we beat Germany or Spain? I don't think so. So I know they got rid of their manager, and we beat them in Helsinki, but it was always going to be a close game. And I think what's really encouraging is we didn't play to the best of our ability, but we've become very hard to beat now under Vera Pauw. And that was even taking Niamh Fahey out of the team, and Megan Connolly went into the back 3 again, like she did in the game against Sweden away from home. But yeah, I would be encouraged by that, and it just takes a bit of pressure off for Tuesday. I think it was the approach last night was, don't lose, like, don't, like, it's in your hands. Even if you didn't play well and you drew at Finland, you're still a point ahead going into the final round of games, and we have the easier fixture. I would fancy Sweden to beat Finland, but we don't have to worry about that now.
I know you were caught on, I think Ian Dempsey had up on his Instagram a lovely photo you're caught on TV at the game last night. Like, we were speaking earlier about the the empty seats, and I know it's still a record attendance, but was the atmosphere good considering all the empty seats?
Yeah, like it took a while to get going because Finland started quite well. I think that what can happen is those tickets went on sale a good while ago, but the tickets, some of them are €5 a pop. So people would think it's only €5, I'll buy as many as I can.
Yeah.
And then it comes around to the game and they see it as I'm only losing out on a fiver. It was a lovely evening in Tala. Like I arrived to the stadium in my t-shirt and people were looking like I met my sister and my nieces and they were like, why are you just wearing a t-shirt? Like,
yeah, but Phil, you'll be having the guns out in the middle of November. You'll be like right at home on the terraces at St James's Park with the t-shirt off, Phil Egan giving it the big one.
I then obviously had my hoodie, but I didn't have to zip it up. It was a lovely evening, perfect conditions. I actually had the seats were right down on the front row beside where all the Irish players are warming up. So I could see when Lily Ag got
VIP seats, of course.
Lily Ag got the nod to say you're coming on.
Right.
And what an impact she made. But also as well, just after the game was brilliant. The scenes where the players walked around the pitch, they did their lap of honour after they'd been in the huddle and Katie McCabe had some words with them and they all got their standing ovation from the crowd. And then all the kids, like I've been going to these games for the last couple of years and you kind of just seen how it's growing. And now, like, you had all these kids around that area trying to get like pictures with the players, but then I saw one girl behind me with her mum in tears. I was like,
really?
Oh, what's happened? She had Katie McCabe's jersey. She was overwhelmed by the fact that she had got Katie McCabe's jersey.
That's lovely.
So, like, this group of players obviously are getting results on the pitch, but what they're doing off the pitch as well is it's great news for the women's game in Irish football because it's just going to get bigger and bigger. It is getting bigger and bigger, but it's inspiring the next generation as well. Where, like I'm there, pitch side, but all the people around, all the young girls that are around there, they know all these players. Like the players are warming up. They're shouting at them, "Can I get your jersey after the game? I wouldn't mind your boots."
Getting in there early.
A lot of work to do yet, because we know how convoluted the playoff system is. But look, if you don't have a ticket for the raffle.
Correct.
Win the prize.
The good luck Auntie Katie sign at the end had me. I was in chief wobble at that point. I was ready for action.
To be honest, the bit with the kid crying with the jersey, I was kind of like,
that's gone.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Phil, go on, that's deal.
I signed for them after the Euros, and after my first day's training, I was driving home. I was actually thinking, regretting it. What have I done? I walked into a circus.
It's amazing, isn't it?